I'll try to answer that too, although somebody can jump in. If you have a plan that doesn't generate any tax revenues, it certainly doesn't generate any money to take care of the social problems. I believe in their tax provisions there is some money set aside for addiction treatment. But again, if there's no tax revenue, you know, that's not going to help anybody. What would it look like? Frankly, if it were up to me to draft, this is a hypothetical, I would probably put some money in there set aside for alcohol and gambling treatment, certainly.
Senator, during the ballot board discussions, there was a lot of talk about whether or not the legislature would have the ability to pass a law essentially adding on to this amendment. And the casinos on both sides, they agree that the state does have the authority. Do you think that that you have the ability to create more casinos if this passes?
In looking at the amendment, unless you pass another constitutional amendment, no, because I believe the amendment says that casino gaming is limited to those 4 operators. I don't see how you can do this.
They make the argument that the language refers to only those sites, that once you get beyond those sites, the legislature can do what it wants.
Well, if it only applies to those sites, think about this. This is how illogical this is. If it only applies to those sites, why did they put exemptions in for pari-mutuel wagering? Were they afraid somebody was going to build a mile-long thoroughbred racetrack on their casino floor? They didn't need any of those exemptions in there. So, second of all, there's no language in there that says these definitions or these words only apply to the 4 sites. Again, the words are plain. What they're trying to do, listening to their arguments, is to put words in there that aren't in there. Just plain language is very clear, and that's why we're here today.
Senator, just for the record, who's funding TruthPAC?
Actually, I don't know.
I know some of the racetracks are getting money. I don't know which ones. It's very early, and we expect to have money from lots of different interests and coalitions growing every day, and hopefully we'll have money like we did. You know, the other side will have more.
Mountaineer.
Mountaineer is one of them.
Do you have any, are you receiving any money from any other out-of-state casino beyond Mountaineer?
Question for the commissioner and the pastor. Would you, what is your view about the Ohio Lottery track slots proposal? Do you endorse that, or do you object?
On a personal level, I don't have any problem with the Ohio Lottery track. I mean, slots are slots. That's fine with me. I'm not opposed to gaming. It's a whole different proposal than the one we had. It's a much bigger question in terms of their validity versus the casino validity. But I don't have any personal problems with slot machines.
It seems that my numbers are diminishing because I've stood opposed to it, and my whole idea is that you've got to take care of family life. You've got to take care of church activity. These are institutions that have stood and have serviced us, but as I said, my numbers are diminishing, and it seems to me that if we're going to get to that place where we're going to have casino gambling and what have you, we're going to have to do some real profound support system with regard to the family, the churches, and the community.
But as of now, you do not support the tracks and the slots, the governor's proposal.
I don't support any gambling, but my thing is that I say my numbers are diminishing, and if that be the case, and I know with the economic situation like it is and the lack of jobs and all like that, it just portends to say that something has to be done, and I'm not sure if we can allow it to be in Pennsylvania, Illinois, and around, and not have it here, so that we have migrations of monies that could be utilized here for job development and the like, economic development.
Does the no side?
I think they spent, if my memory is correct, 38 million. Does that sound about right? 38 million. That's an awful lot of money to spend on a candidate or an issue or anything like that. If the media reports accurately, I doubt that we're going to have to spend that amount of money. I don't know how much we can raise. I'm not on that end of it. I know this is a bad deal for my constituents in my district and the state of Ohio. As far as what needs to be spent, I guess you can sell a pig in a poke if you spend enough money. I guess we're going to see. But I would assume this PAC wouldn't have been formed unless they knew what they were up against.
Detroit, and now we've got the Rivers Casino in downtown Pittsburgh, and again, it's drawing people into Pittsburgh from the suburbs. How would this be different from those two?
Excuse me. Downtown Detroit was not. Greektown is a part of downtown Detroit. If you've ever been there, I mean, it's a small. It's not as nearly as big as German Village. It's just a part of downtown Detroit. Downtown Detroit was not exactly a thriving area. Greektown always was kind of an ongoing entity at the time. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the Detroit casinos are in financial trouble, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's yet to be seen if there's been a major economic impact in downtown Detroit because of the casinos there. If this, one of the labor leaders that I talked to the other night, or last night, asked me, so what you're telling me, John, is if this was done in a different part of town, and if this was, if the provision that that the casino or the charitable gaming, casino gaming was lifted, you'd be okay with this. And so if we could get them to drop this, then you'd be okay with this measure. So it doesn't exactly work that way. But this would certainly be, from an economic development standpoint, a much better deal if we were putting it on the west side of Columbus or on the south end of Columbus, in an area or a part of town that was in desperate need of an infusion. But to put it in an area of town that's already successful, that's already doing well, and frankly, this is, and I don't know all the details of the proposal, so maybe Luther or somebody else can jump in here, but if I'm not mistaken, there's a need for provision for $250 million worth of infrastructure improvement on this site. Is that not correct?
They've stated that the initiative says that they are to invest $250 million in their own companies, like their own capital, starting capital. There is no requirement that they invest $1 in infrastructure.
Well, and the site that it's going to, that they've proposed is a brownfield site that is in need of considerable cleanup, and has, I mean, if you've been over there, it's got unbelievable egress issues. I've looked at this site. I've looked at this area very closely. I've been working with the Columbus Crew in an effort to try to find a new home for Crew Stadium, and we've looked at this area, and we've ruled out the possibility of building a stadium for the Crew in this area because, or many people have ruled it out. Not everybody has, but the Crew has ruled out the possibility of building a stadium in that area because of the enormous cost of the brownfield cleanup and the egress issues that are there. There's no, you can get people in, but you can't get them out. So without creating interchange exits and interchange to 315 and 670, without building more streets and roads and cleanup. So there's millions and millions of dollars that's got to be spent to ready this site to build a casino. So again, my question is, who are they going to ask to do that? Are they going to ask the city to do that? The city, we know what the city's financial situation is. They're going to ask the county to do that, on top of asking us to pick up the tab for more social service needs that are going to be created because of this thing. I'm not opposed to a casino. Some of us are, some of us aren't. If we're going to build a casino, let's get a good deal. This is not a good deal.